Hi, I'm Kelly from Rocket Bakery, and today we're having a chat with
Josh. I'm CEO at FoodFirstNL, the nonprofit that works on food security issues in Newfoundland and Labrador.
And the reason we're talking together is today is World Food Day, and we wanted to talk to Josh because you are involved in food security here in Newfoundland.
Yep.
And you have been for a long time.
Have, yeah.
Yep. And you set up the St. John's, the new market.
Yeah, I was chairing the board of the farmers market as we moved into the new space, and that kind of got me into food security work.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's amazing. So anyway, we just wanted to ask, I just wanted to talk to Josh just to find out what could we do as individuals to try to improve our food security here in Newfoundland, and also what can we do to share our resources so that more people are fed here in Newfoundland.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. And I think this is a really important conversation for people to have. Just so folks know, our province has the second highest rate of food insecurity in the entire country. So almost 15% of households, that's upwards of 60,000 Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are food insecure at any given time, which is, I think, unacceptable. I hope we all think that's unacceptable. That rate has gone up recently, and that's the rate from before the impacts of the pandemic. So of course it's going to go higher. We would expect it to go a lot higher, and among certain groups like single parent households, it's way higher than that. So this is a crisis level problem. I do think there's a lot that people can do as individuals, right? And there's a couple levels of action. So at the ground level, we all live in a community, or at least in a region, where there is some work being done to support folks with their food security. And that might be through meal programs, through food banks. There's a whole range of organizations doing this kind of work. So I would say, if folks can give up either their time or their money, or both, there is always space for that. There is never enough resources in the system to support what people actually need. And we know that lots of people who could be receiving support aren't. And that's the other piece, I think, for individuals, for us to think about at the grassroots level is, what can we do to reduce the stigma of reaching out for support, right? Because right now people can feel really judged when they're in a situation where they are not able to keep food on the table for their household. But it's not people's fault. There's a system that we have, and I think what we can do as individuals is make sure that judgment isn't in us, that we're not kind of questioning people too much if they do reach out for support. And I think that trust is really important, and that trust is something I'd like to see at the grassroots level in kind of mutual aid, but also I wish we had more of that trust in our system. And I think that's one thing we can ask of our politicians is to rethink how we do our social support system to be more generous, but also just be more trusting of people, that when they reach out for help, they need it. And that makes a big difference.
And I think during Snowmageddon and during COVID, when people are, were sharing food, and that whole community neighborhood feeling, rose to the fore, it shows that people are willing to share. And I think thinking in those terms, in terms of sharing food rather than donating food, it takes it to a different level.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that kind of mutual aid thinking, it makes food insecurity places where it should be, which is in our neighborhoods. It's not something that happens to a group of people over there, or a group of people that has any particular commonality. It's all across the population. And we tend to kind of stereotype what it looks like to be food insecure. And so I think one thing, you're right, that we've gained out of the last few months of kind of mutual aid is a better sense that, I have neighbors, you have neighbors, we all have neighbors and friends who at any given time might be facing a challenge here. And so that helps that destigmatization, right? By moving the mindset a little bit towards sharing, rather than this kind of more kind of charitable mindset, which can be really a little bit challenging, right? Yeah.
Okay, well, that's something really for us all to think about today on World Food Day. And thanks, Josh, for chatting with me.
Thanks for having me down.
Okay, thanks.
See ya.